Hello students, I welcome you all for the online session on corporate accounting of third semester BCom, Bangalore City University. As you know, the title of the chapter is Valuation of Goodwill and Shares. In the previous class, I was explaining the various methods of valuation of shares, in which the first method, intrinsic value of shares method, we were discussing. The learning objective of this chapter is to enable the students to understand the various methods of valuation of goodwill and shares. ಸೊ ಈ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಗುಡ್ವಿಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ನ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ವಿವಿಧ ವಿಧಾನಗಳು ಯಾವುದು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. And at the end of this session, you should be able to understand the method of valuation of shares under various methods. So this session is restricted to only the intrinsic value of share method. Now we'll work out some problems on valuation of shares under intrinsic value of shares method. So this is the first problem. Here the balance sheet of Metro Limited is given to you as on 31st March 2020. On the liability side, we have items such as share capital. Both preference and equity shares are given in the problem. We have 1008% preference shares of rupees 100 each worth rupees 1 lakh. We have 30,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each, 3 lakhs. We have debenture redemption fund worth rupees 50,000. We have 6% debentures of rupees 1 lakh and depreciation fund of rupees 1 lakh, creditors of rupees 70,000. So total liabilities are 7,20,000. On the asset side, we have items such as fixed assets 4 lakhs, current assets 2,50,000, preliminary expenses 20,000, discount on issue of shares 5,000, profit and loss account debit balance 45,000. So total assets are 7,20,000. With this, you are asked to calculate the value of equity share under net assets method after considering the following information. The debenture interest is due for 1 year and the current assets include book debts of which 12,000 rupees which were doubtful, for which no provision has been made. So here for the calculation of value of equity share under net assets method. So first we have to take the market value of assets. So the market value of assets, adana tagobekadre, we have to consider only the fixed assets and current assets. So we should not include the fictitious assets like preliminary expenses, discount on issue of shares and profit and loss account debit balance. So first ಗೆ ನಾವು ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ನ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ನ ತಗೋಬೇಕು. ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ನೋ ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಡೌಟ್ಫುಲ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್. Then we will get the total market value of assets. From that, we have to deduct the total liabilities due to outsiders. That includes 6% debentures worth rupees 1 lakh, depreciation fund 1 lakh, creditors 70,000. And we have one adjustment item on the liability side, that is debenture interest is due for 1 year. So 1 lakh rupees is the value of debentures. On that 6% is the rate of interest due. So 1 lakh into 6%. So we'll get 6,000 rupees, that is the interest due on debentures. So here also we should not include the debenture redemption fund. We should exclude it. Now let us calculate the intrinsic value of share. As I already said, first we have to take the market value of assets, that includes fixed assets 4 lakhs, current assets 2,38,000. Total market value of assets is 6,38,000. From that we have to deduct total liabilities due to outsiders. As I already said, debentures, depreciation fund, creditors and interest on debentures due should be deducted. It is 2,76,000. So from the total market value of assets, we have to deduct the total liabilities due to outsiders. And the resulting balance, we have to treat it as net value of assets available to shareholders. It is 3,62,000. From that, we have to deduct the amount due to preference shareholders. Here only preference share capital is due, and the preference share capital was rupees 1 lakh as per the problem. So we have to deduct 1 lakh rupees. The resulting balance is to be treated as net value of assets available for equity shareholders, rupees 2 lakhs 62,000. So balancing figure ನಮಗೆ 2,62,000 rupees ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು net value of assets available for equity shareholders ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. Now we have to apply the formula for the calculation of intrinsic value of equity share. That is net value of assets available for equity shareholders divided by number of equity shares. So as per step 1, we have calculated the net assets available for equity shareholders as rupees 2,62,000 divided by total number of equity shares. So ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ total equity share capital divided by face value of equity shares. ಆ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ equity shares 30,000 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ number of shares ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So 2,62,000 divided by 30,000, rupees 8.73 is the intrinsic value per share. So while working out the problem, so as I already said, the fictitious assets are to be ignored. The debenture redemption fund is an accumulated fund, therefore it should not be considered, it should be ignored. And depreciation fund is a liability. So when depreciation fund is given, we have to deduct it from the fixed assets. However, when market value of assets are given, depreciation fund need not be deducted. So in this problem, we have considered the depreciation fund on the liability side. So liability side ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೋಬಾರ್ದು. Now we'll move on to one more problem on intrinsic value of share. So in this, the balance sheet of Sanvi Limited as on 31st March 2020 is given to you. On the liability side, we have share capital, only equity shares are given, 3,000 equity shares of rupees 100 each, 3 lakhs, reserves 50,000, P&L account 25,000, creditors 40,000, provision for taxation 20,000, provident fund 10,000. Total liabilities were 4,45,000. On the asset side, we have land and building 1,50,000, machinery 1 lakh rupees, investments at cost 45,000. The market value is given in the inner column as rupees 40,000, debtors 1 lakh, stock 40,000, cash 10,000. Total 4,45,000. And the additional information that are given are goodwill is taken at rupees 50,000. We have to depreciate machinery at 10% and increase land and buildings to 1,80,000. That is, there is an appreciation in the value of land and buildings. We have to provide 8% towards bad debts, and 20% is the normal rate of dividend declared by similar type of business on their paid up capital. However, the company could declare only 18% dividend for the current year. So while working out the problems on intrinsic value of shares of the company, so this point will be ignored. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಅಥವಾ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿವಿಡೆಂಡ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Just we will consider the market value of assets of the company minus the total liabilities due to outsiders. So here, first we have to take the market value of assets. In that, we have to include land and building. So land and building ನಿಮಗೆ 1,80,000 ತಗೋಬೇಕಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀರಾ. Machinery 1 lakh rupees ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಪ್ರಿಸಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು 10%. ಡಿಪ್ರಿಸಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ 1 lakh minus 10,000 90,000 ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Then debtors provide 8% towards bad debts ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So 8% on 1 lakh 8,000 rupees ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀರಾ. Investments are to be taken at market value 40,000. Then stock ಮತ್ತೆ cash book value ಅಥವಾ market value ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನೇ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀರಾ, 40,000 and 10,000. Then we will get the total market value of assets. From the total market value, we have to deduct the total liabilities. Here the liability items are creditors, provision for taxation and provident fund. So provident fund is the amount due to the employees of the organization, therefore it is a current liability for the company. Now let us move on to the calculation of intrinsic value per share. In the first step, we have to calculate the net assets available for equity shareholders. For that, as already said, first we have to take the market value of assets, goodwill 50,000, land and building with appreciation 1,80,000, machinery after depreciation 90,000, investments at market value 40,000, debtors after deduction 92,000, stock and cash book values 40,000 and 10,000. Therefore, we will get the total value as 5,02,000. From that, we have to deduct total liabilities of the company. So, as already said, the total liabilities include creditors 40,000, provision for tax 20,000, provident fund 10,000, total 70,000. So 5 lakh 2 minus 70, we will get 4 lakh 32,000 as net value of assets available for all shareholders. Since preference share capital is not given in the problem, we can consider that amount itself as net value of assets available for equity shareholders. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಆನಂತರ ದ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ we would have considered it as net value of assets available for equity shareholders. But since preference shares are not given in the problem, we have considered the same amount as net value of assets available for equity shareholders. With this, we can easily calculate the intrinsic value of equity share. First, we have to take the formula net value of assets available for equity shares divided by number of equity shares. So total net value is 4,32,000 and number of equity shares are 3,000. So ಆಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಬೈ ಫೇಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್. ಸೊ 3 lakhs divided by 100, 3,000 ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So the resulting balance is 144 rupees. That 144 per share is the intrinsic value of equity share. So note at the end of the problem, ನಿಮಗೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ. Provident fund is a liability because it is due to the employees of the organization and dividend is due to equity shareholders need not be considered. So ಈ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Now let us discuss some multiple choice questions on this. Firstly, it is given that net assets available for equity and preference shares amounts to 90,000. The paid up capitals are 10,000 equity shares of rupees 2 each and 5,000 preference shares of rupees 10 each. Therefore, value of an equity share will be, so first again now 90,000 rupees is the net assets available for both the shareholders. We will deduct the preference share capital 50,000. 90,000 minus 50,000 ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ 40,000 rupees ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So 40,000 divided by total number of shares 10,000. So 40 divided by 10 ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ 4 rupees ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Therefore, the answer is 4 rupees per share. The second question is, value of a partly paid equity share is equal to. The options are value of fully paid share minus calls unpaid per share, calls in arrears per share, paid up value per share, none of the above. And the correct answer is the first one, that is value of fully paid share minus calls unpaid per share. These are the textbooks that you can